Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. My name is Elizabeth Fendrick, and I am going to be talking about the impact of nutrition on the prevention and treatment of bipolar disorder. I will be exploring the role of dietary factors in managing mood variability. And my name is Elizabeth Fendrick. Bipolar disorder is a chronic mental disorder with mood swings that oscillate between depression and mania. Bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 always include mania, and bipolar 2 includes depression, but bipolar 1 does not. Cyclothymia is a rapid cycling between moods, and this affects many people, and individuals are usually recommended to use medications and a combination of medications and therapy for relief and stabilization of mood. I chose to focus on nutrition today because it is a very important thing that I've studied and is very important to me in my life and has helped my mental health. And I wanted to explore bipolar disorder more because it affects people in my family. So this presentation will explore how nutrition can impact bipolar disorder prevention and treatment. There are a few key dietary factors that I will be discussing throughout this slideshow, including the role of omega-3 and omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids, ranging from things like fish and avocado to more inflammatory things like soda, fried food, etc. I'll also talk about the impact of high protein and high sugar diets for people with bipolar disorder or really any mental illness. And finally, the role of the ketogenic diet and what that all does for the brain, because I'm sure we've all heard of the keto diet. All right, so there's a lot of evidence that shows the role of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in mood regulation. Omega-3s are crucial for brain health, comprising 1/3 of brain lipids, and this includes things like fish, avocado, nuts, healthy oils. You can even imagine you can think of the Greek diet, the Mediterranean diet, that is very high in omega-3s. It got lots of olives and hummus, fish, healthy olive oil. And on the contrary, omega-6s are found in fried foods and in a lot of our modern day foods. High sugar, high fat, high carbs, processed foods are high in omega-6s. There are studies shown, like the one at the bottom of this slide, that show that an increase of omega-3 intake and a decreased amount of omega-6 reduce symptom variability in bipolar disorder. And the main key finding was a 12-week intervention. It was found to improve mood stability. As they say, we are what we eat. Here's a little video.
True or false? The brain is made out of fat, so we need to eat a lot of fat for brain health. Well, it's true that the brain does have a lot of fat in its structure. About 20% of our body's cholesterol is found in the brain, and 50% of our brain's dry weight is fat. So by that logic, do we have to eat a lot of fat to maintain its structure and function? Not really, and it depends on the type of fat. The brain makes its own saturated fats and cholesterol, so it doesn't need restocking. And getting them from diet is not essential, and they are not even allowed to cross an adult's blood-brain barrier. So when you eat foods that are high in saturated fats like red meat, processed meat, high-fat dairy products, or tropical fats, the adult brain does not take it in, but it can damage the millions of arteries supplying oxygen and nutrients to the different parts of the brain. And it may increase the risk of certain diseases such as vascular dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and stroke. The kind of fat that the brain does take in is polyunsaturated fats such as omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, and these are considered essential nutrients because the brain does not have the capacity to make it on its own. In fact, 57% of our brain is made of DHA. Sources of DHA are fatty fish and fish oil, and for those on a plant-based diet, they can get it directly from nuts and seeds like chia, flax, and hemp seeds, or directly from an algae-based DHA supplementation.
All right, so like she said, there's good fats and bad fats. There was a big marketing campaign in the mid-1900s where a lot of home wives were sent canola oil and were told, stop using lard, stop using butter to cook your food. Start using this oil. And we found through the years, with the increase of vegetable oils, we found more introduction and emergence of high inflammatory based diseases like depression, schizophrenia, and more. So, kind of going back to the food, we are what we eat, and we are not evolutionarily we have never been able to take in so much sugar and salt as our ancestors. Our ancestors did not have any added sugar in their diet. So we are dealing with a lot of new components and environmental factors that are creating a lot of mental imbalances. With that being said, high protein and high sugar diets have been found to have a relationship with bipolar disorder and moods. There is suggested evidence that high protein diets can impede and stop serotonin production, which can certainly affect mood, as we know. High sugar intake is linked to increased risk of bipolar disorder and mood swings, as sugar disrupts the brain's reward system and contributes to oxidative stress and inflammation. So again, going back to, we have lots of sugar in our diet, we have lots of salt, we have lots of extra stuff, all these preservatives and all these additives. Everything is more complicated now than we've ever experienced in human history when it comes to food. Fructose and uric acid. So there was another study that I found by Green and Black, Nutrition and Mental Health Journal. High fructose intake, they specifically looked at apples. So high fructose intake can increase what's known as serum uric acid, which is chemistry associated with manic phases. My kiddo wants to contribute to. Uric acid heightens hippocampal stress responses, which is found to lead to mood swing, impulsivity. And just from that, I hear there's stress on the memory, there's stress on a part of the brain when with this really, really high amounts of sugar. Next, we'll talk about the ketogenic diet. So the ketogenic diet sort of aims to correct the previous things I've talked about, the high sugar, etc., high protein. So the high fat, low carb diet is found to increase ketone bodies that act as alternative energy sources for the brain. One case study for one individual using this approach of this diet experienced full remission and reduced need for medication afterwards. So it's important to note that this doesn't necessarily replace medication, but it can help with remission, it can help with treatment. So ketosis is known to improve brain metabolism, offers protection to the brain, and can reduce oxidative stress. Now, it is also good to note that the keto diet is meant to be a short-term diet, at least from what I read and what I understand from my family members trying it. So it's not something that is lifelong, but you use it, you incorporate it to help heal your body and then make adjustments as needed. There are several mechanisms of impact when it comes to how nutrition is affecting bipolar disorder. The physical and biological aspect is simply that the omega-3s are reducing stress and that the keto diet can improve brain metabolism, thus building resilience in the brain, its ability to react and respond to stress. The cognitive impact, nutritional improvements enhance cognitive function and reduce distortions or reduce issues that might lead to mood swings and instability. When we are in our higher brain and our cortex, we're able to think clearly. But when we're stuck in our lower brains, like our limbic brain, our emotional brain, or our fight or flight brain, it's hard to think clearly. And we all know this when we've gotten in a difficult conversation or argument. Sometimes some of us forget what happened or don't know what to say and say things wrong. So all of this, our brain, can really play a role in how we deal with relationships. Behavioral. Better nutrition and better mental stability leads to more confidence, healthier behaviors, and can possibly help reduce the negative impacts of impulsivity, of reckless spending, reckless behavior. Could also possibly help with the overconfidence that comes with mania specifically, and grounding and calming the system more. And then finally, kind of going back to interpersonal, when our mood swings are crazy and when we're not feeling good, our interpersonal relationships can really be impacted, from our coworkers to our friends to our lovers and our parents and our children. They're all affected by our mental health, whether it's good or bad. So in conclusion, nutritional remedies are a crucial angle to study more and to consider when managing bipolar disorder and all inflammatory-based mental health, I'd say. Dietary elements like omega-3s, low sugar intake, and that keto lifestyle can show promise in reducing symptoms. However, there's still more research that needs to be done. And there is big potential here for food playing a bigger role in dietary interventions in conjunction with medication and CBT or other therapy. We live in a crazy, hectic culture, and my personal belief is a lot of our mental illness is we're not designed for this modern era, and we are just trying to get by, and we're all doing our best. So take care of yourself, everyone, and eat good food and do the best you can. You know, we're all doing that. So I'd like to thank you for your time. These are my references. I found this project very interesting, and I hope you found this interesting as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Have a good life.